Hi, I'm Kennedy, and for my individual report, I chose to do the Medea Project, which is the Medea Project and how it relates to San Francisco women's prisons. So, first, a little background about who created this Medea Project. So, Rhodessa Jones was the founder of the Medea Project in 1989, and this project began in San Francisco and has since spread to areas like South Africa, such as Johannesburg. And then she is also an avid political activist who uses art to challenge the incarcerated and angry youth to express themselves through art and reception rather than violence and active, like retaliant against the government and prison systems. And she actually was hired originally in the prison systems as a aerobics teacher and has since created the Medea Project as a different way to help these youth express themselves. So why did Jones begin the Medea Project? Number one is that she knew the U.S. incarcerates more people than any other country in the world, and she wanted to work with this prison system by introducing theater as a way for women to specifically express themselves and tell their stories, which creates the community among those that are incarcerated or have other social struggles, just such as oppression because of gender, sexuality, or struggles with diseases such as HIV. So, what is the Medea Project or the Theater for Incarcerated Women? So, like I said, it began in San Francisco, California, and is spread to Johannesburg, South Africa, which is where Jones primarily works now. And in San Francisco, California has more of mentors that have been taught straight by Jones that talk to these incarcerated women and help them write their plays. So, the Medea Project works with incarcerated and oftentimes HIV positive women. This can expand to race, religion, other things. It is the longest running theater program in prisons and has been continuously running since 1989 when it began. And it aims to reduce the likelihood of women returning to jail that are released through the expression of their social injustices in an effort that they don't seek revenge illegally once their sentence is over and become reincarcerated. And it helps these incarcerated women express and convey their social and political adversities, like I said, such as race, religion, maybe HIV diagnosis, gender, etc. And this brings us to the essential goal that Jones used when she created this initiative initially is how can one save lives through creative expression, whether that's saving lives literally or saving lives as in the initiative to not become reincarcerated and allow these women to express themselves. So these are just a couple of pictures from receptions of the Medea Project. This one specifically relates to HIV and the struggle with HIV. As you can see, this woman's shirt says, "I'm living with HIV. HIV is living with me." And these are just examples of different receptions and plays that incarcerated women in San Francisco and South Africa have put on to increase that bridge between the social part of America and incarcerated women and their struggles. And this link includes a clip from the HIV Medea Project, which you can view. So, one of the big things incorporated with the Medea Project that Jones implemented is the workshop, she calls it. So, first you have a check in. You allow these women who are incarcerated to take responsibility for their actions. She asks them, "Why are you here? How did it happen? What have you done to get here? And what are you going to do about it?" And that leads them into the second step, which is a self-reflection or a writing portion. So this is where the women actually write pieces based on their experiences and what they've struggled with throughout life. And Jones expresses that her goal is to go beyond emotions and see political and social ramifications, maybe of what they did to cause them to be incarcerated or what has happened to them since they've been incarcerated, and what was the internal motive for that. Was that a social oppression, a political oppression, a disease, any other kind of personal struggle? So once that self-reflection and writing portion is done, Rhodessa Jones, who's the founder of the Medea Project, creates the script for these plays. So she uses quotes and excerpts from these women and what they've written and brings them together into a community, maybe one that combines, such as the HIV division of the Medea Project. So making a play that incorporates the struggles that these women have each individually have with HIV and creating that community from their struggles. Then next is the public performance of the Medea Project or whatever play that they choose to perform and that they have written. So Jones describes it that it is meant to be performed as a reflection of women, not as a professional play and nor as a form of therapy. It is truly meant to evoke thought and for these women to tell their stories. Therefore, they're required to meet deadlines, and they do these plays to the public and others who are incarcerated to give them a sense of deadline, timeliness, and allowing them to become responsible for themselves once they are not incarcerated anymore. Like I said, this introduces discipline and a sense of achievement when those deadlines are met in the women, which they have said. And then lastly, it increases this thought between the audience and the actors or incarcerated women in the play is mythology versus pathology. So the connection to the ancient myth of Euripides' Medea allows the audience to make a connection to the incarcerates, which helps remove barriers for true social change. And we'll talk about connection in a little bit. So one of the examples of an extension of the Medea Project is Slouching Towards Armageddon, which explores issues related to the criminal justice system, particularly regarding race, and uses the experiences of the individuals who have been targeted by the criminal justice system based on their race, which is an example in this picture right here. And these experiences are from incarcerated women who share a community with other women who have that connection between race and the criminal justice system in the United States, once again fostering that building of community and less of a likelihood of reincarceration because of that community and expression that's built. This is just a little excerpt from Slouching Towards Armageddon. You asked me not to specify but to lie. When I spoke the truth, you asked me to run and hide. How long will it be until I state my claim, and how much will it take for this system to rearrange? So as you can see, it's written to mimic a poem, but this was written by an incarcerated woman, and it still allows her to convey her point. Like, when I spoke the truth, you asked me to run and hide. How long will it be until I state my claim? She was saying she was silenced based on her race, which is a good example of how these women are able to express themselves through the Medea Project while they are still incarcerated. So how does this relate to Euripides? So overall, Greek myths are heavily focused around the oppression and sacrifice of women, which we see through Medea, Antigone, Alcestis, and many of these other Greek tragedies that we have read. But Jones does not see it as holding them back necessarily, but instead as a cultural aspect of the time, and that these plays are just a mode of storytelling that reflects their current culture, just as the plays produced under the Medea Project are reflecting their culture and their experiences. So the connection between the Medea Project and Euripides' Medea lies not within the actual contents of the plays that are produced, but instead the themes and emotions found constant throughout the original Medea, which we'll talk about. So first we have betrayal and injustice. So Medea is obviously abandoned by her husband Jason for another woman, which is an example of her own betrayal. And this theme is carried throughout the Medea Project, where many women explore playwriting that expresses the injustices and the betrayal that they face or face because of incarceration. And then next, we have revenge and empowerment. So Medea avenges her husband's betrayal by killing her children, his new wife, and himself and others in their family. And this theme is expressed in the Medea Project because these women are instead able to get revenge on people who denigrate them through creative expression and art compared to traditional violence, which is what helps, Jones says, prevent their reincarceration. And then lastly, we have the complexity of Medea's character. So Medea is a complex female character because she does not conform to the social norms where women are submissive and trapped by their husbands. And this theme is also prominent in the Medea Project because these incarcerated women are all complex women and multidimensional people who are more than just a social label or more than just the time that they spent in jail or their label is HIV, AIDS, Black, or white. And this allows them to express their stories through that theater and their complexity through their plays. These are my discussion questions. Is that, number one, the Medea Project is not an example of a typical reception of the Greek plays that we had previously discussed, and so do you think this interpretation is just as effective even though it's not a typical reception? And second, the Medea Project is the Medea Project an accurate representation of Medea in Euripides' original play, talking about those themes that we just discussed? Thank you.